back and welcome to episode number 81 of What Does This Button Do with Geeks on Tour. It's an educational show about smartphones and tablets with Geeks on Tour. We are old dogs and we are learning new tricks, and we want to help you do the same.
And that's us.
Hey everyone, I'm Jim, here together with my wife Chris. We are Geeks on Tour. Do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And do you have questions about your Android phone or your iPad tablet? And how do you learn about these amazing devices?
Well, we are geeks who teach, and we think the best way to learn is in bite-sized pieces on a regular basis. So we pick a different topic every week and have this weekly show. Our website is geeksontour.com, and all of our content is collected there.
All right, Chris, where are we now?
Still home in Fort Lauderdale, where we're going to be for a couple months. And we actually made it to the beach.
Yeah, kayak diving. That's something that we have been doing for years, even before we started RVing back in the early aughts.
So those are our kayaks. We paddle out in the ocean with our scuba gear on the back. We throw the scuba gear over and go diving.
Okay. On today's show, we have a tip of the day, and we'll talk about screenshots. Our beginner's lesson is about using location services. Our app of the day is going to be Dark Sky for Android. We did that before as an iOS app, but it's available now on Android. And if you have questions, ask them here in the comments. And the show is recorded on YouTube on our Geeks on Tour channel. You can always find those links on our web page, geeksontour.com. We do invite you to become a member of Geeks on Tour. Just go to our webpage and sign up. A quick tip, Chris.
Taking screenshots.
Okay.
Now, some of you do this all the time, but some of you don't know how. So I want to make sure you know how. I will start with the iPhone.
Okay.
And so what do I mean by a screenshot? Let's say that you have something on the screen. Here's the Dark Sky app for weather, and it gives a really cool map that you can see of the globe and the weather for the whole globe. So then you can zoom in. So I say, gee, this is a really cool map showing where the weather is down near the equator. I would like to have a picture of that to put in a blog, a website, just send to somebody in an email. So what do? Do I get out another camera and snap a picture of the screen? No, it's called a screenshot. And it can be a little bit tricky. You have to use 2 fingers on 2 real buttons. So what are the 2 real buttons? On an iPhone, you have the power button, the on-off, and you have the home button, the round one down at the bottom. So I'm going to see if I can show it and do it. You have to push both of them at the same time and then let go.
I saw it.
Did you see that kind of blink and a click? So it's taking a picture of itself. It's a screenshot. So where does that go? It's just a picture like any other picture. So you can go to your Apple Photos app or your Google Photos app if that's what you're using. And there it is right there. And now it is just a picture like any other picture, and you can text it to somebody, you can email it, you can post it somewhere online. So that's how you take a screenshot on iOS, on Apple phones and tablets. Now, what about Android? So the example I'm going to use here is also from our topic today, and that is location history. So I'm going to go to Google Maps on my Android phone and show you the route we took. It's under timeline when we went paddling in Fort Lauderdale a little bit ago, and that was actually on May 2. And there is the map, and I can zoom in. I just thought that was so cool. We had our phones with us as we went paddling around the waterways.
In a dry bag.
Yes, that's
or dry
right.
box.
In Southeast Fort Lauderdale. And I want to take a picture of that and put it on my blog. Same thing. It's the power button and the home button. Although every phone might have different ways of doing this, and I didn't get it. I could tell it did not click. So let me go back there. And it's tricky. You got to get them both at the same time.
It'll take some practice.
There.
I heard it and I saw it, and there was a little outline.
And now what if you don't have a physical home button on your device? You have an LG or some other kind of phone that doesn't have a home button. It has to be a physical button. So it's the power button and the down volume at the same time if you have one of those kind of devices. And where is this? Well, it's either in the gallery or in your Google Photos. I'm going to show it in Google Photos. And there it is. And once again, it's just a picture like any other picture in your photo library, and you can share it, you can put it on Facebook, whatever you want.
Very cool.
I love screenshots.
Yeah. Okay, well, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's at youtube.com/2geeksontour, and you can still get to that from our webpage. Beginner's lesson, are you ready for that?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
We're talking about location services. And we're just doing the screen here first. Mobile device location service. That is one of the things that is so cool about phones, that no other device in our life ever had this. Location. It knows where it is. These phones are smart. They know where they are. So because of that, they can answer questions like, where's my phone?
I'm lost, please find me.
And that can be very useful, whether you've lost your phone in your house or it's just totally missing and you need to find where it's at. You can do that with location services. Or, where are my friends and family? As long as you've both agreed to share your location, you can see your friends and or family on a map. And last, where am I? Now, I know that sounds kind of silly, but there's a lot of uses for this. So weather apps, for example, you don't want to know the weather in Texas if you're in Florida. You want to know the weather where you are. Your phone knows where it is, and if it's in your hand, that's where you are. Or you can ask questions like, show me the movies that are playing near me. Show me where I took this photo. That's one of my favorite. Or show me where I went yesterday. Those are just tiny set of samples of the questions you can ask when you use location services.
A lot of stuff.
So how does it do it? How does the phone know where it is?
It's magic. That's my answer. It's magic.
That's true. Well, there's actually several ways. The first thing we think of is GPS. And yes, all phones have a GPS chip inside them. Now, is that GPS chip sending out where I am at all times?
No, it's not. It's just a receiving radio. GPS is just a receiver. It does not transmit anything. It's basically a passive receiver. So it's getting these timing signals from the satellites that it can listen to on a certain frequency. It's another radio inside your device.
But if you have an app and you have given the permissions, the app can access the location from the GPS and it can distribute it.
Right, and that's how these things work. It gets that information and then it does something with it.
But cell phone companies have always been able to know approximately where you're at, even with old dumb phones.
Right, because cellular technology is another radio inside the device, and that is a two-way radio. And those cell towers and the phone are always communicating when they're on, when the phone's on, and it's always saying, I'm here, you know, do you have a phone call for me? But so they're always talking to one another. That's the cellular connection. So, and it triangulates. So if you're in the area of a tower, it knows you're within a certain distance. If it can see that phone from 2 different towers or 3 different towers, then it can triangulate and get a much better fix on your location. And it's kind of like the same thing with the GPS. If you only have 2 or 3 satellites that it sees, you're going to get less of a resolution. The more satellites the GPS can hear, the more accurate your place is going to be.
So the cell company can find your phone number if it's on and connected to a cell tower, but nobody else can.
No.
Unless they have a search warrant and they go to the cell company.
The phone companies are very tight with that information. They don't want to just give it out, and rightfully so. It's a privacy issue. If anybody knew where any phone was, that would be a huge problem.
And the location services you can turn off if you want to, and that's what I'm going to show you. So it's not like we watched Hawaii Five-0 the other night, and oh my God, they instantly know exactly where anybody is. I don't think so.
Well,
they have more capabilities than we do, that's for sure. But it's not like that. Wi-Fi hotspots is another way. So when you're indoors, the GPS isn't going to work as well.
Correct.
But if your phone is seeing several different Wi-Fi hotspots, those Wi-Fi hotspots know their location, and
Generally
therefore your phone can know the location. So using all of the above.
Sure.
But you are in control. You can turn location services on or off. And I want to show you that now on both Android and iPhone.
Okay.
So first iPhone. And it is in settings. And Apple does consider this absolutely a privacy issue. So it's under the privacy setting. And then it's location services. And it says on. Now, I want you to notice this little triangle up by the battery. You see that? I just covered it up. Now that little triangle. When I turn location services off, you'll see that triangle will go away.
It just disappeared.
So that is your indicator whether or not location services is on. Now, there's going to be lots of things that don't work now. So you go to Maps.
And Maps absolutely needs a GPS.
And we should get a message. Okay, well, it's not, but if I go so you can use the map.
Right.
But what does location services do?
It gives you your location.
Where you are, right. So if I tap this little triangle in the lower left, which is Apple Maps' way of saying go to my location, it says can't do it. You have to turn on location services in settings in order to determine your current location. I can either just say okay and never mind, or if I tap settings, it will take me right there. And I can turn it back on. Notice in here, in addition to location services being on, and we know it's back on because that triangle has appeared, you can specify for each and every app whether it is allowed to use location services. But none of them will be using it if it's off. If it's on, you can still specify that some things can't use it. Okay, that's Apple. And that's the same in the iPad, by the way. I want people to realize whether I'm using the iPhone or the iPad, it's the same. Okay. So on Android, same thing. We go to settings. My way of getting to settings is drag down from the top and settings. And on this one, it's just straight at the top level. It says location. And it is currently on. if I can turn it off up there. And this one does not give me app by app method to give permissions, but it does tell me which apps have been using it. So you can go into the individual apps and remove permissions if you really want to. All right. Now let's see, what do I want to try? Well, maps. Oops, wrong one. Maps. And same thing, it'll let me see the map, but where it, oh, and I'm still in my, where this little button here is normally the one you would press to say, take me to my location.
It looks like it has a question mark in
it.
It
has a question mark on it, yeah. So it's not going to be able to work because it needs to
Now
change.
that's kind of a scary message there too for some people. But usually if this message comes up, then location services has been turned off on an app that requires it, right?
Yeah, I agree. I don't like this message. It sounds scary. This app wants to change your device settings. Well, yeah, it wants to turn on location services. If you tap yes, then it just does it. It doesn't even take you to settings and make you to do it. And where is the icon on here? It's, can you see that? Let me get it even closer. It's the second icon from the left.
Yeah, it's kind of blinking there up
Yeah.
at the very top left.
Now, that is going to go away when I press home. So it's a little bit different. This is saying when location services are being used, are actively being used, that icon shows up.
Okay.
All right, so that's turning location services on or off in both Android and iPhone.
Well, cool.
So what do you do with it besides map? I mean, map is kind of obvious. Knowing where you are on a map is an obvious use of location services.
That's kind of important if you're using maps.
Yeah, I think so. You know, that's the difference between a smartphone map and a paper map. A paper map doesn't know where you are, and it's very helpful. Another use, though, is if you lose your phone, you can find your phone if you have allowed it. And I will show you that when we get the demo.
And we did that in episode number 12.
We did a whole episode just on what happens when you lose your phone. In the iPhone, it's settings and iCloud and Find My iPhone. And on the Android, it's security and device administrators and check the box for Android Device Manager. There are also apps that will find your phone and do lots of other things, but built in to iPhone and to Android is a basic just locate my phone capability.
Cool.
Another thing you can do is where are my friends? You can send your location to them using Facebook Messenger. That's kind of fun. And we've shown that on Google Maps. You can also just share your location with people. And if somebody has chosen to share their location with you, you can see it. And there are lots and lots of apps to track your friends. There's one that comes built in with new iPhones, and it's called Find My Friends. And there's one that I want to show that I've heard about from other RVers called Glimpse. Then there are whole family ones. So you can, and what a joy that would be. Well, not a joy, but how important. If you've ever been in a natural disaster, like I was in a big, big earthquake when I was young, and the scariest thing is being separated from your family. If you have this app that just continuously shows the location of everybody in your family, I think that's would make you feel much, much better.
Much.
All right. Then where am I? There's lots of apps that use your location. Think about it. Gas Buddy. You want to find cheap gas near you? It needs to know where you are. Field Trip is one I love to just show you points of interest around you. Yelp, finding a good restaurant. It needs to know where you are. Siri and Google Now will answer questions and do things based on your location. Photo locations. If you turn on the location tags in your camera app, then every photo you take will know where it was taken.
And that's called geolocation.
Geolocation or location tagging or geotagging. And then last, but definitely not, the coolest thing to me is how Google Maps has tracked everywhere you've always been. Now, yes, some people will be freaked out about that. And if you want, you can turn it off and you can delete it all. I love it. I love it. So those maps that you see on the screen, the one on the left is everywhere we've been in the last 3 years.
We've been all over.
Yeah, and I didn't show it all, but it does have Cuba. You can see Cuba in there. It also has England. And then the one on the right is showing where we went in one particular day. It even shows, the time we arrived, where we went. This is for my eyes only. You have to be logged in. So how did I get these? I took screenshots, of course. All right. And something else that there's nothing to show you, but it's just really interesting. Once everybody has a smartphone with them and they turn on these services, then the rest of us have access to wonderful information. If you've ever used the live traffic feature on Google Maps, that's how that gets it.
Yeah. And Waze is a mapping app that I use all the time for traveling and for commuting and things like that. And that's crowdsourced too. So it's using the location stuff in the app. Now, Waze is also owned by Google, and it uses a lot of the information from Google Maps. So they're starting to talk to one another. It's kind of cool.
And they get more and more and more accurate the more and more people who are using it. And now they do things to mask who, this is, what's it called?
It's not
incognito.
Identifiable.
It's not identifying who the individual phones are. It's just a statistical data as to where, and municipalities can make road building decisions based on this.
Mm-hmm.
So we can continue to improve. All right.
I have a message here. I was trying to watch without much success, a word at a time, from a campground in Reidsville, North Carolina, where there's little data service from Sprint, T-Mobile, or Verizon. We have active accounts in all these. Data is down. Well, if you don't have data, you have a hard time watching these. If you watch these shows on YouTube, you have some control over the bandwidth. And you can lower your bandwidth requirements. It'll be a smaller picture, and but at least you should be able to watch or at least listen until you get to a place where you have a better connection. So we're sorry you're having a problem, Chris, but that's somewhere else.
For a demo then, this, you could take a whole semester course on location services, but for a demo, I'm going to do 5 things on both the iPhone and on the Android. I'm going to show you where to turn on the Find My Phone feature, show you how Find Friends looks. I'm going to ask Siri for some information about location. I'm going to show you how a photo can be seen on a map, and I'm going to show you just a couple of other apps. So I'm going to start with iPhone.
Right. Let's show that.
And step 1 is Find My Phone. Now, you might see this app called Find My Phone. Well, it can't. What's that for? That's for finding your other devices. So if you have turned on Find My iPhone, then you can. And let me log in here.
Yeah, you don't want to show everybody your password? It's just a bunch of dots like everybody else's.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the app called Find My iPhone. And the point here is that it can find not just iPhones, but iPads and Macs. So take a look at that list. One of these is this iPhone. Well, so what? I know where it is. I'm looking at it. But it will also find the iPad or even an iMac. if they are online. Look at that. This is our old iPad. It's turned off, and this is our Mac, which is also turned off. So it can't find it.
Oh, looks like everything's right here, though.
So how do you tell, yeah, this is true. How do you tell your iPhone that you want it to be findable? That's in your settings, and it's under iCloud. And find my iPhone. Mine is on. I highly recommend that you have this on. You know, I see no reason to not have it on. It allows you to locate, lock, or erase your iPhone. And look at this, send last location. So one of the first questions that people will have is, well,
what happens if it's turned off?
If it's died.
Or the battery's died, yeah.
Well, if you have this one on, you can automatically send the location of this iPhone to Apple when the battery is critically low. So you will still be able to know at least where it was when the battery died. Okay, so that is Find My iPhone. Now, if you don't have another iPhone with an app, you go to your iCloud.com on the web, on any computer, and you'll be able to see the location. So second is Find Friends. The Apple, as I say, comes with this built-in app called Find Friends. And what you have to do to have a friend show up on this map, you have to add them. I'm not going to do that. And when they accept your invitation, they are now a friend, and that you will always be seen. So I only have one iPhone friend who has accepted my invitation, and that's Martin. And according to this map, he is in Raleigh, North Carolina right now. And it says that up at the top, in addition to it being on the map. Now, why does it say Google Gym location not available? That's because you don't have an iPhone anymore.
I gave my iPhone to you.
This is my iPhone now. This app is only available for iPhone to iPhone or iPad, iOS devices. All right, so that's Find iPhone.
So that doesn't work with Androids.
So that does not work with Android. There are other apps, though, for Android. This is just the built-in one.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask Siri something. And remind me to buy laundry detergent the next time I'm at Walmart.
Which local business? Tap the one you want. 1 sec. Okay, I'll remind you when you arrive at Walmart Supercenter.
That's great.
Is that cool? I think that is so cool. So if next time I go to that Walmart, as soon as I pull up in the parking lot, I'm going to get a notification on my phone say, remember to buy laundry detergent. And that's because it knows where I am. So if I had location services turned off, I couldn't do that. And now photo. All right, so keep it on here. So I'm just going to take a photo, nothing special. And
what do you mean nothing special? That's me.
So I took a photo. Now, if I've given it permissions, and I'll show you that in your settings, it's still under location services, which is under what?
Settings.
And privacy.
Right.
And location services under camera. That's set to never, then your photos will not know their location. I love it. I say, yes, I want my location stored with my picture. Now, how do I see it? I go to Photos. This is just the Apple Photos. And all photos. Now, you need to be looking at, instead of albums, at photos, where you see it says Oakland Park, Florida. And if you tap where it says Oakland Park, Florida, you will see a map and the pictures on the map. If you're using Google Photos, you find the picture and and you use the I for info,
Rose.
and that gives you a map of where
Find
it's at.
picture.
Very
Okay.
cool.
I'll switch over to, well, the cool thing about Google that they keep all your history that I was talking about, but not you can't see it on Apple. So they do, Apple keeps some history also, but it's buried down deep in your settings. So it's really just no fun to show. So I'm ready for Android demo now, and I'm going to do the same 5 things. So on Android, to allow this phone to be found when it is lost, that is a setting, and it's security. And phone administrators, Android Device Manager. Allow Android Device Manager to lock or erase a lost device. And to do that, it has to be able to find it. So that's how you turn that on. Then if your device gets lost, you go to a web browser and Android Device Manager and log in with your Google account, and it does the same thing that the Find My iPhone does on Apple. Okay, so that's number 1, how to find your device. Make sure that is turned on.
Very important.
Now, for finding friends, look at this. I think this one was so cool. This is a widget. And if you don't know about widgets, we did a whole episode on that. This, you can't do this anymore, though. If it's Google Plus. This is a Google Plus thing. And Jim is a friend of mine on Google Plus, and he allows me to know his location. And look at that. We're both together. Wonder of wonders. All right.
Peas in a
So,
pod.
so I really like that. So just at all times, and I really like this when we're in Walmart. It actually is accurate enough, unless you're in a metal roof and the GPS doesn't work so great. It can be accurate enough to find each other in Walmart.
Okay.
That is, if you don't bump into the walls because you're looking down at your phone trying to follow the directions. All right, but you can't do that anymore. So what do you do? Well, let me show you one thing, and that is Facebook Messenger. If you use Facebook, this is just an instant messaging app, but if you, all right, here. Bob's watching, right? So I'll do it with him. In addition to sending a message, I can tap those little 3 dots and I can send him my location, my current location, and send. So is that handy or what? If you are, let's say you're boondocking in an RV and you want to tell somebody where you are, just send them your location. And that works on iPhone as well. Now, what about Find My Friends apps? You know, if I go to the Play Store and look for Track My Friends, there's a ton of apps here. And here's that family one that I mentioned that can do all sorts of really special things, that Life 360. And we had a comment.
Yeah, somebody likes that Life 360.
Yeah, I've heard about it from several people. We don't actually use it. Okay.
Yeah, it was Dee that said that.
But there are a ton. There are a ton of Find My Friends. You'd have to just do some research on them. All right. I can also ask Google now. Well, let's see what. So Bob replied, smiley. All right. And bye-bye. Now, Google can also remind me to buy laundry detergent. I just say, okay, Google, remind me to buy laundry detergent the next time I'm at Walmart.
Okay. Do
you want to save this?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, now that one just said all locations. Isn't that interesting? As long as, yeah, the
Anytime you're in a Walmart.
anytime I'm in a Walmart, I am going to get a notification to buy laundry detergent. Taking photos. All right, this time I think I'll take a selfie.
Okay.
There we go. And where is it? Now on the Android, remember there were not location services settings in the main settings for different apps. So what that means then is you need to go into the settings for the camera itself. And there I have location tags on. And this is going to be in slightly different places depending on your phone and your camera app, but there is location tags on, location tags off. And these are off by default. So if you've never gone in here, then your pictures do not have location information. Mine do. And, oops, I didn't mean maps. I meant photos. So I go into Google Photos and see that photo I just took. And if I tap on the eye for information, then there is the map. On the Android, there's one more thing. Now, I showed you this exact same thing on the iPhone, but on the Android, I can tap on that, and it assumes that I want directions. It'll open up Google Maps and navigate. And we've shown this before too. I love this feature. You can navigate to somewhere just by having a photo of it.
As long as location services and geotagging is turned on.
Correct.
Cool.
Correct. Okay. And then the pièce de résistance, which I saved for last, is your location history. So in Google Maps, if you've allowed it, and which I have, it has been recording every place you've ever been. And that is called timeline. Now, if you do this on a computer, you go to maps.google.com on a computer and go to your timeline, you'll see red dots for every place you've ever been, that like we showed you before. But on a smartphone, I tap on your timeline and I have to ask for a particular day. So it tells me that we haven't gone anywhere today.
What have we been doing?
What have we been doing? We've just been at home, but we have taken some pictures. Pictures taken today are there. Now I can just go back to yesterday.
Now, all of this is because it's Google, right?
Yes. Yes, this is definitely Google. And yesterday we didn't go anywhere either. But if I go back to the day before, you can see that's when we went down to the beach and we took some pictures of getting our kayaks ready to go out diving. And we took our phones in the kayak with us, and it shows that we went for a walk. Hey, we can prove it now. We walk on water.
I don't think so.
All right. So that is Google Timeline and Google Maps timeline. And you can delete all that. You just go into the settings. You'll see where you can turn it off and you can delete it. And I think I've got it.
I think you have.
Unless you think I should show Where Am I?
That was another app that we did.
We did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've done that before. The Where Am I app knows not only where you are, but what the zip code is, what the phone number prefix is, all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah. And it's handy to have, especially for travelers.
So that is an introduction to location services and the different things you can do with it.
All right. So I'm looking.
Oh, Glimpse. I didn't show Glimpse.
Oh,
No.
well.
I just see somebody.
We talked about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So Chris uses Glimpse every time we travel and love it so, and so do our kids, because they know where we are. They have unlimited
We do
data.
have unlimited data, yeah.
And they use this in conjunction with Skype, and that overheats their phones.
Yeah.
So yeah, these things are kind of resource hogs, and they will warm things up. Chris also says that he used that YouTube tip to reduce the resolution, and now it works better. That's
excellent.
So good to hear. Other questions? I don't see anything else here.
Okay. Well, Glimpse, just FYI, Glimpse is like filing a flight plan. It doesn't just keep your, well, at least what I've seen of it. You say, I'm going to let you see my location because I'm traveling somewhere and I need you to know where I am.
Okay.
But I only let you see that for 4 hours, up to 4 hours, and then it goes away. So if you're concerned with the privacy, but there is a time when you want a family member to know where you are and be able to know your arrival time.
You can turn that on.
Yeah. It also knows your speed. So watch out. Your family might be saying.
Yeah, Chris took a walk up to the mailbox yesterday. She's still going 3 miles an hour. All right. That's about that. Okay. About time to wrap it up, isn't it?
Well, you have a tip of the day.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we do, but we do want to remind you to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and all of that stuff. App of the week. So our app of the week this week is an app that we did before. It is called Dark Sky. It is a weather app, and it is just an amazing tool. It's more of a service than an app, but it gives you hyper-local forecasts, which means right where you are. Some of the other, like AccuWeather and some of those others, will give you close by, but not as hyper-local as it'll tell you to the minute when rain's going to start where you are, or snow. We know, but it'll give you notifications. It has a lot of different notifications, rain or snow, severe weather. You can even set up your own custom alerts to get alerts for weather things that are happening around you, and you can set a daily summary to even go on your lock screen for the weather. Beautiful maps, and they really are nice. And it is a homegrown weather service, so there's a little bit of crowdsourcing involved in it too. But it is really more of a service than an app. And one of the nice things about Android, and this was just released to Android this week, is that it has widgets. So on your screen, you can have widgets on your screen with weather. Let's see, you want to show that real quick? I think we can. And yeah, so this is my screen, and I have 3 widgets on weather there. I also have Radar Now as one of my other apps that I use for this. But you know, there are a lot of weather apps out there, and one of the reviews I said, who needs another weather app? And nobody needs another weather app. And then it said, except for this one. This is one that you want. This is one that you really will make a big impression on you. And I really like the Android because it gives you those widgets. It's been available on the iOS for quite some time now. All right, that's our app of the week. Well, did you learn something? Here's your test. True or false? Anyone can track your exact whereabouts if you're carrying a cell phone, just like on TV.
False.
That's not true. That's not TV. Some people might be able to track you, but not just everyone.
And if you're Edward Snowden, I might be concerned that somebody is tracking.
What did he say? Keep your keep it in.
Put it in the fridge.
Put it in the fridge so they can't hear you anyway.
Yeah, if
they'll still know where
you don't want your phone to spy on you, put it in the fridge.
Using location services, you will consume a lot of 1, battery, and 2, data.
Mostly battery. I mean, that is, if you are running low on battery and you're getting scared that your phone's going to die while you need it, turning off location services is something that will save that will save battery.
Right, and I think that's one of the things that these battery saver apps do. They'll turn off those things. Battery saver apps typically will save your battery for phone calls. That's what they think these things are all about. I think they're all
What's
about other
that?
things.
Yeah.
Who uses them to make phone calls anyway? All right, to use the Find My Friends app that comes with your iPhone, your friend must accept your invitation and use
The Find My Friends app on an iPhone or iPad.
So they have to have an iOS device.
Yes, if your friend has an Android, you got to find another app.
And there are a bunch of other apps.
Yeah.
So true or false, you need to download an app before you can locate a lost phone.
False. There is phone finding capabilities built into both iOS and Android. You must turn them on.
There are apps out there that say that they'll find your phone, and they do, but you don't need
And they'll
to
do
get
other
them.
things too.
Sure.
But
So for photos to be geotagged, you need to turn on the location tag setting where?
in the camera app, or for the camera app
Okay.
specifically.
If location services are turned off, you can use the map, but you won't know what.
You won't know where you are on that map.
Where am I anyway? Okay, Chris, what's the web page that lists all of our weekly shows?
geeksontour.com, and the menu item is Weekly Show.
And the web page that lists all of our recent newsletters.
geeksontour.com, and the menu item is Blogs and Articles. Newsletters is under there.
Cool. And what benefits do you get by joining Geeks on Tour?
Access to all the prepared tutorial videos rather than this live stuff, asking questions in the members Q&A forum, and the show notes of these shows.
And those show notes are really valuable, and more so as we do more
I think
shows.
so. I use them to look stuff up.
All the time. Well, again, we invite you to become a member at Geeks on Tour. That's how we make our living. We are what? Public supported?
Member supported. Member supported, yep.
Very good. All right, next time.
Are we going to do our follow-up on Monday?
Oh, that's right. We've been doing a follow-up, and the link is on our weekly show page. So if you go there, you can register, and if you're interested, you can watch our follow-up. You can even join in. It's an interactive webinar type system. Go to the link, register, and we'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Yeah, it's been fun. We've actually been getting to know the people who've been watching the show.
Great, great. Our next topic on May 22nd
I don't
is
know yet.
to be determined.
TBD.
Okay? TBD. Watch for the notification for our next show. Click down there and let us know that you're coming. Leave questions in the comments or whatever you want to know about, and we will be in touch.
And meanwhile, keep on pushing those buttons.
Okay, Chris, what does this button do?
You just keep trying and see. You know, these are not going to blow up. I'm glad we don't teach, airplanes how to fly or something.
Okay, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.